Welcome to She Wins Women, Wealth, Wisdom, and Legacy, the podcast where financial empowerment meets fearless living. If you're a woman who's built a life with purpose and is ready to align your wealth with what matters most, you're in the right place. Your host, Eddy, is a certified financial planner, financial educator, and passionate advocate for helping women live fearlessly and leave a legacy. Whether they are preparing for retirement, managing an inheritance, or simply looking for trustworthy financial guidance, Carol has helped her clients feel confident in their financial plan for over 25 years. Each week, she'll share insights and practical strategies to help you create financial freedom, navigate smart money choices, master your money mindset, and make winning decisions now and for the next chapter of your life. No intimidation, no overwhelm, no jargon, just wisdom, clarity, and the confidence to manage your wealth, embrace your power, and craft a future you love. Welcome to the show. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Natalie.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Well, we wanted to get this podcast started. So this is going to be a slightly different format than what most of the podcasts going forward will be, where you are the one in the interviewee seat, Carol, rather than somebody else. So for listeners, my name is Natalie. I will not usually be the person talking, but I am Carol's virtual assistant, and I am here to ask her some questions so we can figure out a little bit about who she is and why she wants this podcast to be happening. Yeah. So I guess we're just gonna jump right in. So first of all, Carol, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into financial planning?
Sure. I was born in Indiana. No, just kidding. I was raised in Indiana, but I got it, actually was a counselor for 10 years, and I got my master's in social work. And I worked with families and kids in treatment facilities, which I think when I left, I was managing 5 residential units and 2 hospitals and dealing with the staff and all that. And I loved the work that I did. I loved working with the kids, but what I didn't like was the politics of healthcare because number one, anytime there was the insurance company made a change, you had to change the training program, change the paperwork, everything so it matched what the insurance wanted, and then they changed something else, and then the staff had to be on board with that and make sure they did note taking the way the insurance company wanted. And even with all that work, often what would happen is the insurance company would stop paying and the kids still needed help. And it was just heartbreaking for me to watch. And I also saw parents being stressed about the whole thing. And I just, okay, I can't keep doing this. So when I left that field, I was thinking, what would I do instead? And I love helping people. And what I realized is these families were really struggling financially to pay for this treatment. What if I help people financially versus emotionally? And the reality is, when you get into financial planning, it's very emotional. So it's not really handy because people are very emotional about their money and they get concerned and they have worries and goals. And then when you get into estate planning, then you can have a lot of family stuff that comes up that really my old training comes in handy to work through that with them. So anyway, once I switched fields, I'd been working in the industry for about 3, 4 years, no longer than that. And my brother had died suddenly. And when that happened, he was 45 and married. And so he had his wife and 3 kids, ages 4, 9, and 11. And of course, that was devastating for me. But I also felt like I was the one person that could help my sister-in-law. And I told her when I saw her, it's like, we're going to get through this together. And basically, I was there every step of the way. And when we started to get into the finances, she was a very smart woman. But of course, she's overwhelmed. She's dealing with grief. She's dealing with the kids. She's dealing with paper. And honestly, the finances were a mess. And trying to get through all that was quite a process. It took a couple years, but she was able to do it. And I think when you're overwhelmed and dealing with all these other things, you just want somebody else there to say, am I making any mistakes? Is there something I'm not thinking of? And so I was that person. That made me really recognize how important my job is to protect people with their finances, to be there and walk them through when stuff like this happens. And then just recently had a widow like 4 or 5 years ago that came in with her husband died suddenly. And being able to recognize the overwhelm again
Yeah.
And having her take the time of just, we have time. I'm here. When you're overwhelmed, we can talk it through together. I can kind of help you prioritize what's next. And we've been working together for quite a while now, and she's in a whole different place. But it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to walk somebody through all that.
Oh, I love that. I feel like that just comes from such emotional drive to actually help people place rather than I don't know, this is what I do for a living. So I'm really glad to hear that you had so much of a transformation through that journey. So who do you primarily work with now, and what is your specialty?
So I primarily work with women, and people often think that means only women, and that's not true because a lot of them are married. But really, it's about, women often are in a position where they may have a lot of financial gain, but they don't have the confidence of what to do and how to do it. It's really just making them feel comfortable and trying not to use all the jargon when you're talking so that they're in a place that they feel like they understand. Because I think a lot of advisors, they're throwing numbers at you, they're throwing performance at you, they're throwing all these things at you. To me, it's more about what is it you want and how do we get to where you want to go financially? And how do I make you feel comfortable with where you are and where you're headed?
Yeah. I think that plays really well into the next question, which is what makes you stand out from your competition?
I would say that one of the things I think is unique is I'm really relationship based. I get to know these people. I know their families. I know their kids. I know their grandparents. I know the situations they're in because they share all that with me over time, and things are always changing. And so, again, I think a lot of advisors are sales based. And granted, there's some great people out there that are just like me that are more holistic based and really care about the client and meeting their goals versus, oh, I've got an insurance product I need to sell you. I've got a stock I need to sell you. That's never been the way I've approached the relationship. And I'm also an independent planner, which means I don't carry a product line and I don't have any alliances to any company. When I recommend something, I'm doing whatever's best for the client.
I would also, this is me plugging you here, also with your background in social work. I'd say that you exemplified in your answering of the first question, like a way that you stand out from your competition a lot is just having the background and the knowledge of how to handle these really sensitive situations.
Yeah.
So I'd say that definitely works in your benefit as well, and for your clients in turn.
Yeah, I
So,
think people end up having to share a lot of detail with, they're not
mm,
sharing with their friends. How many people do you tell how much money you're making and where your expenses are going, and that you've got a kid who's in trouble, and
yeah,
all those
yeah.
things play a role, and you have to manage all those things in the best way possible.
Hmm. So, what is it that you love about what you do? What keeps you going in this?
I think as we go through the process and I see clients who come in with lots of questions, and then once we start putting the plan into play, they start relaxing because they see a path and they see them making progress. And then they understand it's a breathing, living object. It's not a one and done.
Mhm.
It's always life happens. And we
Yeah.
know what's going to happen tomorrow. And if something good or bad happens, usually I'm the one they call and say, how my car broke down. I need a new car. How we like, okay, let's figure out how we're going to do that. Or a wedding or early retirement lately. People have been laid off. What are our options? Do I have to get another job? Can I retire now? Just being that person that they call when they have a question is what I like most about. It's about relationships. It's about being around them and seeing them go through the process and then seeing them relax, knowing I'm in good hands and we'll figure this out.
Hmm. Amazing. Yeah. So these next couple questions that I have for you are they're more about you as a person rather than anything business oriented because we want people to know who they're working with and who is working for them. So just giving a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, I guess. So what is the quality that you like most in a person?
I would say most important quality I see that I like in people is compassion. I think none of us know what path anyone else has been in life. And so even when I'm upset with ones, like I have no idea what their history is. I have no idea what they're yelling at me right now, really. It's usually not about me. So why not have compassion about I don't know their life history or what they're doing, and I don't have to react to that. So it's one helpful to me, honestly, selfishly, but also I appreciate that with other people when they're compassionate with me when I'm not perfect, because there are times I'm not perfect.
Yeah. And we all just need a little bit of grace sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you are not working, what do you do for fun?
I think some of the basic stuff like hiking and biking in the summers when it's nice out. We also go surfing, which is surfing behind a powerboat as opposed
Oh,
to
nice.
ocean surfing. So I really like that because I don't have to paddle and do all the hard things to be able to be on a wave.
That's fair.
That's important. My husband just recently asked me, we were on vacation. He's like, "You want to do surfing?" I'm like, "I have no desire." Because that looks like a lot of work.
It's hard. It's hard.
The idea of having to jump up on a board in the middle of, yeah. Anyway, we go surfing behind a boat, which is much simpler. I also am very passionate about sailing, and I have actually captained boats in the British Virgin Islands.
Oh, nice.
Taking my friends and family sailing over the years since I was probably in my 30s, taking people on these trips, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I've been sailing since I was 4. So it's just a really neat thing.
You are an ocean person then,
I'm really an ocean person. Although I live in the mountains, which is ironic.
You can have both. It's fine. You can do both.
They say the largest number of scuba divers are here in Colorado.
I did not know that, but somehow I don't find that surprising at all.
Yeah. Who knew?
Lots of outdoorsy people. And this is the last question for you, unless you can think of anything else that you need people to know after this. Do you have a favorite business or life motto?
Probably more life mottos. I think one of the things my dad taught me that has always stayed with me is the only thing consistent in life is change. And that shows up in my practice all the time and with my clients. And then the other piece, I think my nieces and nephews would say, would be ice is your friend. And my stepkids. Because as Aunt Carol was always an advocate of ice. And
There
it's
we go.
funny as they're adults now that they continue to say that. Like, really? I made an impression. That's awesome.
Oh my goodness. Well, out of the mouths of babes, I guess. Always listen to them. They give great advice. Is there anything else that you want your listeners to know before we sign off? Or are you just excited for them to tune into the upcoming podcast episodes?
Oh, I'm very excited to be starting this. I'm sure I'll stumble along the way, and hopefully everybody will have grace when that happens and see how it goes. And I think if people have questions, they'd want to know more about me, I'd be happy to answer them. So just let me know.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Carol. I can't wait to hear these as well, since I am your virtual assistant. So I'm going to be right there along with you.
I appreciate that because I can use your help. All right.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you so
Natalie.
much. Thank you for joining us today for the She Wins Women, Wealth, Wisdom, and Legacy podcast. If today's episode sparked a shift in how you think about your money, your future, or your legacy, imagine what's possible when we walk this journey together. And if you found value in today's conversation, please share this episode with a woman you care about. Together, we rise and we win. If this inspired you to take charge of your financial future, don't stop there. Download your free guide, A Woman's Guide to Triumph in Every Decade of Her Wealth, by clicking the link on the screen or in the show notes. It's designed to give you powerful tools and clarity at every stage of your wealth journey. And be sure to follow or subscribe now so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay wise, stay empowered, and remember, it's time to rise, lead, and win with your wealth, your wisdom, and your legacy. As a reminder, the content shared on this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute personalized financial advice. For guidance tailored to your specific situation, you can schedule an appointment with Carol. This is an independent podcast not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corporation.